Welcome, folks, to episode 231 of the Morgue, the official CorpseFeed podcast. And I am Arturo Padilla, the guy behind the face. And with me, always, is Mr. Nick Valdez. Tex, how are you today, buddy?
Oh, man. Howdy, everybody. Howdy, Arturo. We have a busy week, so let's just get right into the coming attractions. First, we got to start off with the first of the two TV shows we have on deck, Ironheart. So
That's still a thing?
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Setting the table for this one a bit. This was one of the shows that Disney had produced. Like I want to say they finished it like in like 2023 or something like that. It's some like egregiously long time ago, and it just got put on the back burner because everything had been changing, right? Like so much has been changing with Marvel. They're changing the way they're doing their TV shows in general, and like Daredevil came out and make them change it even further. Like now they're like, okay, we'll do one show. And if that show is popular, then it'll get a season 2. Instead of being like, okay, here's Ironheart, which is going to be 6 episodes. The way we did it before, right? Like the way it was just
pretty much. Yeah.
So like, you got Daredevil going on to being success. Jessica Jones is coming back, which got confirmed. Kristen Ritter coming back to reprise her character, which is cool stuff because at the end of season 1, spoilers, he was like, they need a team basically to fight against Kingpin and everything going on. So it's like, cool. Okay. Now we got Defenders coming, but with Ironheart, it's its own thing again. And like those other miniseries, and they really are like, we just got a trailer for it and it's coming out in June already. So they're straight up, it's going to be a 3-episode premiere. So, like, the 3 out of the 6 episodes, basically, you're dumping in the... Yeah, like, unfortunately, that's all you can kind of say, right? Like,
it sucks, though. You know why? Because, like, the character of Riri Williams, we were introduced to her back in Wakanda Forever. And the character was actually, a dope character. And we were actually, if you go back to our archives, we were kind of excited to actually see this Ironheart show upon seeing Wakanda Forever years ago.
Right. Yeah. Like if this would have came out when it was supposed to, we probably would have liked it. Right. Like, unfortunately, it's just got this dark cloud hanging over it that no matter how much we may or may like the show itself, it's like, well, this is the old era. Right. It's like, oh, we're watching this, but you remember The Flash? Right? Remember when The Flash came out and like you and I liked it and like for its flaws and whatever, despite all of it. But we were watching it with the knowledge that James Gunn had a whole new DCU coming, right? Yeah. So it's like, this is kind of the same situation. We're watching Ironheart knowing that like Marvel's moved on already. So it's like, well, how much can we enjoy this? It sucks, right? It's just it sucks, like the show itself looks fine. Like it looks fine.
It does. It looks fine, but like it looks like it was supposed to look. You know what I mean? Like we knew about this show a while ago and we wanted to see it. But now, especially after watching Thunderbolts, like we're gonna take a step backwards now. Like especially like making it. It helps that Coogler had Sinners, so I guess like they're trying to bank on that success of Coogler.
Yeah, that's why they're like Ryan Coogler.
Yeah, which is like cool and everything, but it's like okay, like he doesn't have anything to do with this show, And the character itself, I don't think, as I mentioned, I don't think we're gonna see Riri Williams after this show in any of the upcoming Marvel movies.
Yeah, because unfortunately, by now we've learned. Right, like we haven't even seen Miss Marvel again. She was in Marvels, right? But like,
yes, that's right.
If we were going to see Ironheart again, it would have been in something like that. We would have seen her by now, and it's like, and all the other young ones, like the new Hawkeye, like Kate Bishop, she's out there in
season 2, though.
They might.
And I know Renner was offered a role in season 2, but he turned it down because of money reasons.
Yeah, and that's why they didn't do season 2. But it's like, also, it's like, yeah, well, if Haley Steinfeld wants to do it, just have her do it, right? Like that's the thing. Like,
also, like that's one of their best, or I should say, one of their better TV shows that they had on Disney Plus.
which is also why we were like, why didn't they do more? Well, now we know. It's because they try to, and that's one of the things too. They had this presentation to their advertisers. It's called like an upfront, which is like these companies say, oh, hey, we have these things coming in the next year or so. And but it's not for fans. It's for, hey, you're giving us your money. So this is what we're going to do. Right. And so one of their things there was they revealed how they're changing the way they're doing television, right? And one of the things they mentioned was that they're going to stop doing ones with big stars because of the Jeremy Renner situation, where it's like they did a big star focused show and then they couldn't follow it up because they didn't want to pay him enough money, which is also like, yo, you're Disney. What's going on?
That's annoying too, because I'm not gonna get inside the man's pockets because I don't know, but I'm pretty sure he wasn't calling for Robert Downey Jr. money. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like just pay him a fair wage, bro.
And that's also it, right? So it's like regardless of how many millions it was, like it's like, yo, he's worth it, right? It's like, yo,
you have an original Avenger in your show still. Like it's the only like original Avenger they still have like an active duty pretty much, besides Bucky, you know?
No kidding, right? Yo, pay him his worth, like pay him his fair wages. And clearly it just wasn't, it didn't hit the mark. But hilariously, that's also what they said is they're going to stop doing that. They're going to do TV, but it's not going to be necessarily TV connected to the whole scope. Like it's probably what we're getting now. We're getting Daredevil stuff. We're going to get little small stuff that connects to other TV shows, but like, don't expect to see them in Avengers.
Honestly, like
that, right?
I'm cool with that plan if they give me more of that Spider-Man cartoon. Just give me more cartoons. You know what I mean?
You're right. Yeah, because the plan was also, they want to do like 3 movies tops, 2 animated shows, and like 1 or 2 of the TV shows, which is that's perfect.
I get that, but like they should like kind of condense their animated and their TV shows because it's both a TV show, you know?
You're right. Like instead of separating it, do an Ironheart animated show.
Yes,
right?
Exactly. Like that's exactly what I told you off air. I'm like, I would love them to reintroduce her in an animated show. Like this is how you get these young kids into these superheroes these days too, because no one's buying comic books. You know what I mean? So like you're like, make that accessible, just like that Spider-Man show. It was so awesome, and it introduced like a whole bunch of different characters and a new generation to this Spider-Man. Like I thought it was really well done. And if they follow that model, just go with the animated stuff. You can do a lot more with those characters and then like get people, just make them aware of your stable of characters.
Right. Because by the time you bring them back in live action, then
people will know who they are. You know what I mean?
Yes,
because everyone just knows the Avengers, bro. Iron Man, Thor, Captain America, Hulk.
Right.
That's it. But no one knows of the characters from Thunderbolts. No one knows Riri Williams like that. No one knows all these like B characters. Like make cartoons about them, man. This live action shit, like it works for certain things, but it doesn't work for other things, man. And it's very frustrating when everything just has to be live action. No, it doesn't, dude. Just go back to the animation board where you guys are successful because you guys are a fucking comic book company. You know what I mean?
And funny enough, that actually brings us into the next one here, in our next coming attraction. Like, so Peacemaker season 2. This is one of those ones that, it's a James Gunn project. So naturally they're like, okay, let's do whatever he wants. He'll do it. And this one makes less sense because it's a season 2. It's not like Creature Commandos where it was like, okay, this is a brand new thing in our universe. This is a part 2 of something that shouldn't exist anymore. Right. So like,
here we are, right?
Here we are. And, it's cool because in the trailer, you get a new look at Hawkgirl and Green Lantern, and it's clearly like, and I think that was Maxwell Lord. I think
yes, because I know that his brother, I forgot his brother's first name, but his brother is playing Maxwell Lord from I remember reading.
Okay.
Yeah, which so is again, he loves to sneak his family into everything.
And you know what? I've got no problems with that. That's the other thing. It's
but like then again,
bring everybody. It's the Adam Sandler thing. Bring everybody with
that's
you.
That's cool,
right?
But Maxwell Lord is a very important heel, so I definitely need him to make sure that's done properly. You know what I mean?
That's the other thing, because Sean Gunn is not exactly like.
He's a character actor. You know, he's a Dastmalchian. You know what I mean? Like he's another David Dastmalchian where he will adapt to everything. He's a chameleon. This is why he's been so successful in a range of movies too. But like now you were given a character, Maxwell Lord, previously played by Pedro Pascal, which I also wasn't really a big fan of that iteration either. But Maxwell Lord he's a badass. Like he's a businessman, but he's responsible for some crazy shit in the comic book. So I really hope that that comes through, because he's responsible for the OMAC project, which pretty much almost destroyed the Justice League. You know,
dude, now it's clear that he's putting together his own Justice League in this new, like in Peacemaker and what we're talking about next. So it's like, oh, okay, like
I think it's Justice Guild too, right? From what I saw on their chest, like logo thing, like a kind of thing.
Yeah, Justice Guild. I've heard people throw around Justice Gang. Like, I don't know if that's like these are different comic book teams, but like, I guess because it's supposed to be like they're not the real Justice League, right? Until it's like Superman and Batman and Wonder Woman. It's going to be like, oh, it's the International Justice Team.
The Justice Society with the Flash with the helmet on it, you know?
Yeah, it's always something like that, right? But this is another one where it's like, okay, instead of doing Peacemaker season 2, which honestly, no one, I guess, like people asked for. You and I did it. You know, right?
Is this why John Cena's heel run is so bad right now? Because he was focused on this, dude. Like honestly,
it's
like
rough, man. Yeah,
it does look like a fun season, I have to admit, right? But again, you just brought up a great point, Tex. Like, what are we doing with this character here? Like, this character came to fruition when Gunn was asked to direct Suicide Squad. You know what I mean? And I didn't think we'd be getting more of him after that, because as you mentioned, like this is like a clean slate now. We're moving forward with stuff. But even then, though, DC hasn't gotten their ducks in a row, right? Like they still have the Batman stuff lingering in the background somewhere, right? And now with Peacemaker, we really need that. Like, yes, he's introducing some characters that we will be seeing for a long time, probably, like Rick Flag's father is in here, Rick Flag Sr., I should say, right? So he's in here, and you do see him in the next upcoming attraction. So that, at least for me, kind of was like, okay, let's see what else we got, because
it's one of those like,
you know,
like it's back to the classic. You know, unfortunately, it's what Marvel used to be good at, right? Of like, all right, we're gonna watch this TV show to see more of these characters that we're gonna meet here and then see in the other big projects, right? So it's like, you know, that's the draw. But also, how is it going to conflate everything that happened in season 1 that's no longer part of the same universe? You know, is that why there's a clone of him in the trailer? Because it's like, oh, that's previous universe Peacemaker, and now this is DCEU Peacemaker. I don't know, like,
it sounds messy already.
Yeah, honestly. And it's a little too much thinking for a Peacemaker show that you and I both are like, yeah, okay, I guess we'll see it. Like, because now we kind of have to, right? That's the other thing. It's like, oh, okay, connecting characters. All right, let's see what's going on, right? But we'll figure it out. We'll cover it and we'll get back to you when we check it out.
Absolutely.
But, let's talk about it.
Let's talk about some good stuff, though, folks.
Yes. So Superman, you have the first, well, yeah, technically, right?
Yeah,
it's
the
like
first
this is like,
real full-length trailer.
Yeah,
for
like
Superman.
Dude, okay. Like, you know, for as much as I'm willing to bash James Gunn, and for as much as we did already, I look at this trailer and I'm like, let's go.
Listen, we were bashing him for Peacemaker, not for Superman. All right, it's totally different project. All right, but yes, just exactly what Tech said. I am strapped in, fucking ready to go 0 to 100 right to my theater to watch this thing, dude. I really love this trailer that just came out. It starts with this really awesome scene of Lois Lane interviewing Superman, all right, or Clark Kent as Superman. And it's just so smart because it shows you exactly in that little tidbit, it shows you what kind of personality our Superman is going to have. And I really like the direction it's going. I like the direction that that whole interview scene was going too, because it's like it's real. It's like, because Lois is just doing her job, right? And then you get into
but
further.
he's like, yo, like I love you. What are you
It's
doing
like,
to
why are you
me?
trying to be like one of them? Like I thought you were different, kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
But Lois is legit asking him the hard questions because that's what her job is. That's what she's there to do. And then I just love the fact that it comes right to the front, like, hey, like I am not like this pawn for this country. I am me.
He's like, I'm not representing anybody. I'm
Yes,
representing me,
I'm
right?
trying to
And
save
like,
people and trying to save lives.
yeah, and like I also like how it's not so clean cut, right?
Yes.
In terms of his personality,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because he's clearly like losing it, right? He's like, yo, he's getting super emotional, pun intended, but like, yeah, it's like, oh, so Superman is a dude, right? It's like, okay, cool. So he's allowed to be like a guy with flaws and a guy with like
infallible,
a character,
yes.
like he's not a perfect guy. And I think that's ultimately why I like it too. And like the only thing I will say is that it's kind of the same thing we've said before about like, since we're getting thrown into the middle of his story, right? It's this is still our first introduction to this new Superman, right?
Yes.
So it's like it's gotta be a suitable origin story somehow. Even with all this other stuff, it's not your traditional, right? It's not your traditional, oh, coming down from Krypton, all that stuff, right? Like we need to. This is our first look at him, so this is his origin for all intents and purposes in this DCU. So it's like it's got to hit, dude. Like, and that's the thing. Like, is it going to be able to pull it off with all this other comic book stuff going on? I'm interested. I don't know.
Yeah, I am interested as well. One thing about Gunn though that I do have to kind of give him kudos for is that he does know how to hit those emotional beats.
Yes.
We've seen it in all his movies, with all of them, like literally all of them. That are like moments there where the emotion just captivates and it's done just right. And I'm thinking we will get that. We do see a couple of moments of with Superman, Clark Kent with his parents, Ma and Pa Kent on the farm. So I am hoping we do get a little bit of like flashback stuff there.
Dude,
That's probably what I'm hoping for.
I like that they're old people. Does
yes,
that?
me too.
I hope that doesn't sound wild, but like, yeah, I'm tired of like the Kevin Costners and the like, you know what I mean?
Kevin
like,
Costner with like the worst death ever. I'm like, your son could like literally saved you.
Yeah,
you're like, no, just wait, not yet, stay back there.
Yeah, I like that they're
watch
just
me die.
Like, yeah, they're just old farm folks, and like, there's something about that, right? There's something about like, it's just everything I see in this trailer, man. Like, I'm like, okay,
it's working, right? Like,
yes,
Gunn
like
seems to have everything managed. I have to see a little more of Lex Luthor. That Holt, Nicholas Holt is playing Lex Luthor. I'm not totally sold on him yet, but we just got a couple of snippets here of him being very Lexy,
Yeah, we need like a Lex Luthor monologue with him, right?
Yeah,
like we
sure.
need him staring at Superman and delivering like some kind of monologue
like,
line.
I hate
thing.
you alien.
yeah. We need that to really see whether or not his Luthor works. But like everything else looks fine. You got Crypto in there, which is like okay, but hey,
sure,
like,
I'll take it, right? That's wild that Crypto's in there.
Yeah, and as we mentioned from Peacemaker, we got the Justice Guild gang, society, whatever they are.
GLA, yo.
Yeah, and Green Lantern looks fun. He does that hand thing. It's just kind of like, dude. And then I think the big thing though is just it's a good looking Superman, right? And as we've said it 100 times before.
Yes, right? It looks like it's very action packed too, which is something we brought up before that. Hey, we want to see Superman, right? Like we don't want to see him just like go through things. Like Man of Steel, like he didn't do. There wasn't a lot of action there until Zod showed up. You know what I mean?
Right.
So here we have Superman in a variety of different kind of action sequences that aren't happening at the same time, I think. So I am excited about that we're just going to see him flying and punching and doing some cool Superman stuff.
Yeah, and it looks like he takes lumps too. Like that's the
looks
thing.
Like he takes a lot of lumps, which he should, because it's like, hey, you should get your ass kicked all the time.
But yeah, and then but the whole thing about Superman is that he keeps going, right? And that's the thing. It's like even when he loses hope, he's like, no, I gotta be hope for everybody. And
Superman, Spider-Man, and Jace, pretty much, right? Like it's like, hey, I can do this all day, but like he has that drive, he has that drive that Peter Parker does. It's like, hey, I'm not gonna stop because there's a person in danger over there. And if I don't continue, that person's gonna either get hurt or die or whatever. So Superman has those same qualities where he's just, as he said in the trailer, I just want to save people, right?
Dude,
like he's just there to save people.
Dude, we just
can't wait, Tex. Cannot
that's
wait.
That's the thing. Like we've said it 100 times before, but we just need this to be good. Like we not only as like DC fans, because it's like, yo, we're gonna have this universe either way, right? So it's like we're gonna have like, so this needs to be good because of that. But also, like, we just need a good Superman movie, dude. How long has it been? Like, I mean, say what you want about Man of Steel, but it was still like, yeah, it was a different kind of Superman. But hey, like, I didn't mind it. Like, I thought it was a good Superman movie.
Yeah, that's like my favorite Superman movie. Until maybe this one, hopefully, right? But like I love the Christopher Reeve one, don't get me wrong, but like those are 70s movies, and it's not my kind of Superman,
It's just been a long time.
Yeah, it's been a long time since we gotten a good one, man. We had the Brendan Roth one with Bryan Singer.
Yeah, right? Even then, that was in the 2000s.
Yeah,
so it's like, yo, like,
and that and that was a continuation of the Christopher Reeve storyline too. So it wasn't like its own original thing.
We're basically getting a new one every generation. So like, yeah, like, okay, like let's hope this one's dope.
Hopefully this one sticks, man, for sure. Moving on.
Yeah, it's the same we can say for Godzilla X Kong Supernova.
I hate that X Kong thing.
Yeah, it's just because you're not supposed to say it. It's supposed to be like Godzilla Kong, but
so just put Godzilla / Kong or something. White X. We're gonna say the X.
Yeah, because it's not versus, like, I don't get it. Like, I don't know,
because it's not a sneaker collaboration with the X. You know what I mean?
Or why not do the ampersand Godzilla and Kong?
And Kong, right? Like, or just put Godzilla and Kong. Fucking spell it out,
or,
even,
Yeah, do the Abbott and Costello thing, right? Like Godzilla and Kong meet the Mummy, But like, this is kind of
that's where it's going, though, right?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. So Supernova was announced. It's officially in production. We're just bringing it up because the title is revealed, and it's kind of basically saying Godzilla and Kong meet aliens. And so this could mean either Space Godzilla, which is like a clone of Godzilla that got formed in the void of a black hole. It got crystallized, and like that's why you see a Godzilla with like crystals. That's Space
a Power
Godzilla.
Ranger shit, bro.
Yeah.
There's Rita Repulsa over here.
Yeah, or it's Gigan, which is, so there's two versions of Gigan. Gigan was like a lizard from the planet Nebula that got thrown into got thrown on Earth because the Nebulans were like trying to like colonize it, basically like take over the planet.
What?
Then it got beaten. Yeah, then it got beaten, and then they turned into a cyborg version of itself that came back in Godzilla versus Megalon, which was I think the one you saw with when the car went down the stairs, and it was like one of the coolest stunts in the whole movie. Yes. I'm like, yo, that's actually legitimately great. But yeah, so Godzilla and Kong meet aliens is basically coming next, and that's all we have to say about that.
Listen, like, it's funny enough, actually, so random too. I decided to just randomly put on Godzilla X Kong.
Was it the New Empire?
Yeah, New Empire. That's the one.
Yeah,
that's your previous adventure.
Yes.
Yeah, and you know what? Like, they gotta step up their CG, because I've seen a lot of movies recently, nice 4K quality, and I was like, oh, this is 4K Ultra. Let me see how this looks. CG needs to get a lot better, especially if we're gonna do this pretty much entire CG kind of universe with big monsters. They gotta invest a little bit more there, because even freaking How to Train Your Dragon looks a little better than the stuff that I saw in New Empire, man. It's they gotta fix that. They gotta fix that, but I'm on board.
Yeah, because this movie's already scheduled for like 2027, and if it's just starting production now, does that mean visual effects production is starting now? So it's like, oh, I don't know. Like 2 years isn't a lot of time for like Godzilla, right? And it's like, oh, we'll see how the visual effects play out.
And you know what
like,
sucks too? Like that doesn't really suck. It's great for us, the audience, but it sucks for like the Godzilla kind of studios kind of competing. So now you have Toho, right? Like doing a second one, a second Godzilla one, pretty much. Like the director said he's gonna make a sequel, and that's what he's in work in progress right now.
Godzilla -1.
Yeah.
So I guess +1 would be Godzilla 0, which would can't lie.
There already a Zero?
There's a Monster Zero, which was the original name of King Ghidorah, because it was like Godzilla versus Monster Zero.
Yes, I remember that title.
Yeah. So like, I guess we'll see.
We'll see, right? We'll see. Again, like this is why this little like it's a title teaser. It's not even a thing.
Yeah. We're just bringing it up because like I wanted to talk about space.
I wish we got a little bit more info. I know that Dan Stevens is back to reprise his role.
He's the only one coming back. So like my thing is like, it's gonna be Kong in space. So are they gonna put him in like a giant space suit?
I was just gonna ask you that. Do you think they have a big enough astronaut suit for him?
They're gonna have to. Like, it's kind of like, if you don't, why did you make this movie?
And
right?
Can Godzilla breathe in space?
I guess I don't think so. That's the
right.
Other
so
thing.
are they gonna have a Godzilla astronaut suit as well with a tail?
They're gonna. If they don't, why make this movie, right?
That's
ultimately it. Yeah, like,
very curious.
Come on, figure that out. So the next is from the world of John Wick, Ballerina.
Speaking of lengthy, titles, Jesus Christ, guys, you guys couldn't call it the Ballerina, man?
Yeah, we can't, like, hilariously, I guess we could just call it Ballerina, which we will, but it's funny when you point out the whole title, right? And like,
ridiculous, honestly. How like, why?
And it looks great. Like, that's the thing. Like, this also looks good. It's been a while since I've seen Ana de Armas in something. I know she's done stuff, right? Like, I know she's been in movies, but God help me if I've seen them. So
I mean, the last good one we've seen with her was Knives Out, I think. Honestly,
yeah, and that was like at the start of her little blow up. So like, so hey, I'm down for this. I'm curious to see where it fits in the John Wick timeline, especially because they are working on a John Wick 5, which
of course,
like they straight up announced it that
are they gonna make it 4 hours this time?
Dude, I don't know.
They were close with the last one. Jesus.
And that's the hope with Ballerina, that it's not like the 2 hour, like it doesn't need to be. I don't think so.
And I know Donnie Yen too is directing one First Sticks, right?
Yes, he's doing one for his character, and that's where
from Daredevil.
That's where what's her name is coming back. The one who was the daughter of the samurai guy.
Oh yes, in the hotel, right?
Yes,
okay, that's dope.
When we were watching, we were like, "Yo, she's dope." Where is she going to show up again?
To get her revenge.
Yeah, so she's going to show up in that movie.
That's
cool. I remember seeing that. I forget her name, but so that's another little little note for John Wick universe. But like, I'm down. They're going to hit a point where these movies all kind of blend in together, which is kind of where we're at already.
Yeah,
right.
Agreed.
Like, because it's funny. This trailer came out. The trailer for Nobody 2 came out. I don't know if you ever saw that first one.
No, I know of it.
Yeah. The guy from Better Call Saul, he's in it. But that's another one where a guy just fights a bunch of people. Then there was Novocaine, where a guy fights a bunch of people. And like, now it's a lady fighting a bunch of people. So it's like, cool. But also, when you boil it down, it's just one person fighting a bunch of people.
Yeah, but
right?
Don't forget too, like we had other movies in between all that, like
Atomic
Blonde, right?
Yes,
Atomic Blonde. Anna was one of them as well. Another blonde actress. I don't even know what that movie was about. But like, it's a thing. Like, it's a thing. Like,
it's become a genre, right? Like, remember Silent Night was one that we saw. Where was it?
Ever since Liam Neeson was kicking ass and taking names in Taken, everyone now wants to be an action star, bro. He was the original.
Yeah.
So
and that one with Ki Hui Kwan was in that Valentine's Day one or something, I think.
I Love Hurts, which was like straight to VOD pretty much.
And that's
came out immediately in VOD.
There's that Boy Kills World where like it was the gimmick was that he was like mute or something.
Yep.
And the more we think about it, the more I'm like, oh, then there's that one. And
there's also like better ones like Monkey Man, right? As well.
Yes, Monkey Man. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like speaking of Monkey Man, little side note for that. So Dev Patel's making another movie for himself, right? Nice. Like he's directing, creating a new movie, and it's a guy in medieval Europe tearing ass through like dudes. So like
fuck it.
Yeah, right. Like and I forget the name of it, but like it's a knight like tearing through dudes in medieval Europe.
It sells,
so, like,
kicking ass sells, I guess,
just
as Stone Cold Steve Austin,
And that's the thing, you're right. Like we've seen better versions of the idea too with Monkey Man. So it's like, what are we gonna get? We're gonna return to the John Wick mold, and like
think about the Working Man, right? A Working Man.
We just saw,
right? All those Statham action movies where it's just a one-man army kind of thing,
Beekeeper. Yeah, you're right. Oh man. Okay, let's keep moving before we can turn that into a whole episode.
We're gonna have to have a show about action movies, bro. Because there's a shitload of them. Yeah, talk about.
Anyway, you know what? When Ballerina comes out, we'll dedicate some time to the genre. So next up is The Long Walk, which is a new adaptation of like a Stephen King, and I forgot who else is involved, but it was Stephen King and some other name popped up. But it's a death game, dude, and I'm down. Great looking young cast too.
Great trailer, by the way, because you don't know what the hell's going on until the kid gets a cramp. Right.
Yes.
And you're like, whoa, wait a minute. Let me, I legit had to rewind a bit to find out. Wait a minute. He just got a cramp. What happened?
Yeah.
Right.
Because I'm pretty sure because when you look at it, right, you look at The Long Walk, you look at like the thumbnail, and you're like, oh, it's probably some drama or something. Yeah.
I'm like, where's Shia LaBeouf at, dude? But legit, it looks like some kind of kid movie. Like I was like, I remember you sent it to me. I was like, what is this? I'm like, all right, let me just click it. And then I started watching. I was like, oh my God, this is awesome. So the whole premise is like, they take their youth. I don't know what age these kids have to be, but you have to walk until there's only one of those kids left. And if for any reason you stop, they'll give you, I think, 2 or 3 warnings. And if you don't continue walking, you will be killed. It's straightforward in concept, which is great. But it's also it's a tasty concept, man. Like, dude, what is this going to look like, dude? It looks really interesting. I'm very intrigued about this.
It's a cool idea because they like, from what you can glean from the trailer, they volunteered for this. So it's like some sort of contest where they win something, but then it's like, what do they win? Is it a money prize? Is it like your family safe prize? What kind of world is this, right? Is this like is it apocalyptic world where it's like they're forced to participate?
Yeah, my wife was like, what? Is no one gonna stop this? What's going on? And I'm like, babe, but I'm like, hey,
and clearly not. Like,
it's
you see
clearly
the police
part of this universe, right?
So, yeah, you see the police like saluting them, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, okay, is this like this is part of a whole thing,
it's part of their world, and I'm interested.
And and not only that, look at this cast you got in the middle of it. You got what's his name from Romulus, which is I forgot again. So shout out to you,
David. Right? No, that's not
David.
Well,
in the movie,
Andy,
David Johnson.
Andy.
Yes, David Johnson. Yes,
David is his real name, but he's Andy.
Yes,
he's Andy the Cyborg, not David the Cyborg. David the Cyborg was Fassbender and Prometheus and stuff. But yes, his real name is David, but he played Andy. And that other kid, he's in Warfare. The other main kid in that trailer.
That's Philip Seymour Hoffman's son.
Really?
Yeah, I think his name's like Cooper. Like, I think he's like Cooper Hoffman.
He was really good, and like his role was small in Warfare, but he was solid. So I'm very happy that he's here because he was good. And I'm like, oh, it's the kid from Warfare, dude.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Man,
yeah.
It runs in the blood, bro.
Yeah, and then also it's got Ben Wang from Karate Kid, who we're gonna see later this summer. So so basically, what I'm saying is like, oh, it's got like a interesting group of like young
stars, right? Yeah.
So like, and Mark Hamill as like the main general guy. So like, we got a good little mix.
Familiar.
Yeah, we got a good little mix going there. So that's it's not only interesting, but it's like it's well stacked to the point where I'm like, oh, okay, we got something here.
Yeah.
That's not what I could say for The Conjuring Last Rites. We
Oh,
got their
man.
first trailer for this thing.
Out of thousands of cases, Tex, we're going to show you why this was their last one. And I'm like, really? It looks like the previous movies, but
yeah.
honestly, like I go back on record saying this. I love the first Conjuring movie. It's one of my favorite horror movies. It is an essential horror watch, I think, for any horror fan. Juan did a
Agreed.
fantastic job with that movie, but the ones that followed have decreased in quality. Two was good. It was it was a different take from part one. It had more of the family stuff going on.
Yeah, two kept it going with like a solid idea.
Yes,
right?
exactly. Yeah. But they always kept sneaking Valak back into that, which was it's a Conjuring universe issue. And then 3, The Devil Made Me Do It. Honestly, forgettable. I forgot what that fucking movie
reviewed it. Yeah, we reviewed The Devil Made Me Do Do, and like it's
I review a lot of movies, Tex.
Yeah, it was just
what happened in that movie?
Dude, it was bad.
Obviously, it wasn't that great if we don't even remember what happened. So this one, honestly, like, did I ask for another Conjuring movie? No. Will I see it? Yes, because I love the genre of religious horror and possession and demonic stuff. But like, come on, like now it's low hanging fruit time here.
Yeah,
like especially with we've been waiting for you. Like really, like
and it sucks, right? Because we've seen so much of the Conjuring universe by this point, right? Where it's like even the spin-offs are like having to experiment in these wild ways to keep you going, right? Like it's like Annabelle Comes Home was the one that's like, oh, let's bring it back to the main house.
Best version of that side story too, honestly.
Yeah, and and The Nun 2 was like, oh, well, let's turn it into like a religious superhero kind of movie thing where like she's got powers and and it's like, oh, okay.
Water into wine, Jesus kind of powers.
Yeah. and then they were like, I don't even know if they're doing that anymore, of like a crossover between the two.
Oh, remember La Llorona, bro? How terrible that was? And then another Conjuring universe movie.
Yeah, and dude, we've seen so many of these that like by going back to basics in the OG universe, like in the OG movies, it's like, oh, what else you got, right? And I hate to say it because you're right, you're 100% right. In that first one is like modern classic, right?
Absolutely.
When you think of movies from like the 2010s,
high rewatchability and everything too. Like rewatching it gets better as you rewatch it because you're looking for all the stuff in the movie, all the clues and stuff. But the others, I've tried to rewatch part 2. It's fine. It doesn't have that same oomph as the first time I saw it.
Right.
Part 3, I didn't even try to rewatch that one because the first go around wasn't that great. I do hope the quality of this one is better. It seems like they're dealing with a number of different kinds of demons and possessions here, but again, like there's nothing really new here,
Yeah.
So that's my only concern.
Yeah, my one plus I will give it, like the one pro is at least it's releasing in September.
Yes.
And we haven't gotten a lot of movies.
Yeah, good Halloween. Yeah, good spooky season introduction. And one also final caveat for this one that is also positive is that it should be the last one we see the Warrens in. So
I mean, I'm
would crossing my fingers unless they want to bring like old Lorraine back in some kind of like adventure or something. I don't know.
I mean, you know what? I guess we'll leave it up to them. We'll see where they go. Right.
We'll figure it out. All right, folks. That was it for Coming Attractions. Next up is our feature presentation. We got a double for you. All right, folks. Next up, we have a double feature presentation for you lovely folks out there. And first up is a movie, very little known movie, kind of came on our radar closer to its release, actually. Clown in a Cornfield. I've heard it in horror circles, in the horror community, been hearing it for several months, but it wasn't released up until recently, actually. And it should have kind of stayed that way because this was not great at all. I would say wait for it, but I'm just gonna say stay away from it, honestly, because it doesn't really add anything new to the horror genre. The story is incomplete on top of that, which is unfortunate because the story actually had a decent turn to it. But they forgot to finish it. And that was a detriment. The acting wasn't great. You had some neat kills, but it wasn't a lot there to really sink your teeth into, unfortunately. Not my favorite time at the theater. So you guys know how we do this. Stay away from it. It's obvious. Wait for it means you wait for it when it gets at home. You see it in the comfort of your own home, and pay for it is you pay for the streaming or you pay for the movie ticket. This one, folks, before Tex gets into it, is for me a stay away from it because it just, like I said, it doesn't really do anything new here. Tex, what do you think, Clown and Cornfield?
Yeah, well, okay, so I will disagree with it. It doesn't do anything new. So that is the one thing, like the one positive I will get, because to me, I don't know, you've seen a lot more of these than I have. So that's the other end of it. Like,
okay, cool.
Might not be new, it might not be new to you, but I did like, I mean, since we're going into it, full stay away from it. You don't need to see it. I think you're fine. So, buddies at home, if it, when it hits Shudder, maybe check it out. Like when it gets to Shudder.
There's better stuff on Shudder for you guys for sure.
That's the other thing, right? It's like, go watch something else instead.
Yeah.
But okay, so the one thing I will give it credit for is the twist. So it's a girl and her father go to a small town, and then then a killer shows up, and like I've liked the fact that it's revealed that it's the entire town. But not only that, because we've seen that before. We've seen that plenty of times that the whole town is in on it. But I like the fact that they all wear the costume. I think that's a cool that's a cool move, because halfway through the movie, or when the third act starts, they all show up and attack like the same place.
Yeah,
and I do like that as a slasher movie concept. I like
that's fun. The follow through though, Tex.
That's the other thing. That is like where I'm like, okay, man. I'm like, I can't just just as for what we do here for the buddies at home, right? It's like, as a critic, I do have to point out where I'm like, oh, that's a positive to me. That's a pro, and then here come the cons, right? so
that's what I said though. Like, right, exactly, right? Like they did something interesting with the story, but I have to kind of just poo-poo it because you didn't finish it. Like, you didn't finish your story. Like, you literally, let the fucking bad guy go away.
That is 1000% the other half of this, right? Because for every little positive I can give it, like for every little new thing that I appreciate it, because it's not only that, I did like the joke about there's a joke about the phone where the kids are trying to call on a landline. And they're like,
on a rotary phone. They were like, what is this? And it's so true.
And it's the funniest thing that, like, I give it a lot of credit. That's a new joke. Like, I don't think I've seen that joke in anything else, like in terms of horror movies. So that's why I'm like, unfortunately, I can't say it doesn't do anything new. That's the thing that sucks, right? It's like, I think I'd be able to bash it more if it were like a really just a bad movie. But the fact that there are good things in here, that kind of makes it more disappointing, right? Where it's like, oh, exactly. You had a good idea there. They had a good gag with they had a good reveal with like the main guy in the movie, that it's like his whole thing is that he's gay, that he doesn't realize it. And like, that's a cool, I'm like, oh,
that's good. That is funny enough. Oh man. And that scene where him and his SO, just come together again. Dude, like, there's a moment there where they kiss, right? And then
and it's like traditional.
Somebody actually walked out, dude. They walked out like when that happened. I'm like,
and that's also like part of like good. You're doing good, right?
Yes.
And like,
yes, exactly.
This is why I'm like, this is why the rest of it's so disappointing, because it's like, oh, you have good ideas, and then then you don't finish your story. You don't. Okay, so let's talk about that, Arturo. Right? So like, when it's revealed that the the whole town is in on it, they give their little speech, basically saying there's a bad crop of new kids, and we're gonna get rid of that crop because we do it every generation or so, whatever, right? And like, The whole thing is, they fight off the rest of them, but the main guy, like the main father to the kid who turns out to be gay, he's going to kill his son because he's gay. And it's like, he's the worst kind of scumbag guy.
He's the mayor too. Yeah.
And like, he gets away. Like, he just drives away.
Yeah, like, you see him attempting, like, to just pretty much hang his kid. And then, like, there's no repercussions for him. Like, none. He just disappears completely out of the story like he was never even there. And that's one of my biggest problems, because it's like, okay, like, it had a lot of technical issues for me, but I was following the story.
Yeah.
Right? I was following the story. I was like, okay, the story's not bad. I like the twist that the town's coming after these kids. Don't know exactly why yet, what makes them a bad crop or anything. But I did like that. I was like, okay, I was following.
Yeah, because then, because by that point we're judging on a different scale. Because I think when you go see this movie in the theater, I think that's the other thing, right? Like, if you saw it on VOD, we'd probably be like, it's like
but we actually paid for this thing. You know what I mean?
Yes, and then that's the issue.
And then on top of that, there was another moment which completely took me out of it, story-wise, when the mayor confesses to actually burning down this like corn factory that was providing jobs for the entire town, and this is why they're going kind of crazy in that town, right? And then it's revealed that it was him, and none of the other people hear this. Like, the people are blaming the kids. The people in town are blaming the mayor's son for burning down the freaking factory, but it wasn't him. It was faulty wiring. The mayor's responsible for it because of whatever dastardly plan he had. But like, no one heard this. And then the teacher was there. He still went after the kids. I thought he was going to go after the mayor. I thought that was how it was going to end for the mayor.
Yeah, the town hates the kids because they think the kids burned down the factory, right? Like you said. But then the town people hear the mayor say this, and this is where you're right. Like, this is where the confusion sets in, where it's like, what are you doing still?
Yes.
Coming after you, when you hear the guy you're working for say, "I did it," to like start all this.
And then it's messed up even more that a lot of these townspeople actually went through like legit trauma, like family members, there
were family members that died in the factory.
They unalived themselves because they lost their jobs.
That's the thing too.
So it gets really serious like that. So for them to completely let this guy go, bro, I was like, no, that's it. This is garbage.
And that's where
what are we doing here?
Yeah, and that's where it's like, it really sucks because it's at its core, it's at least got an interesting idea that you can see turned into a slasher movie, right? Like, town gets revenge on these kids for burning down the factory. But like, you're so right. When it gets to like the reveal of all that, it opens up so many questions, and it isn't one, like you said, the thing I always love is a suitable punishment for something, right? So it doesn't even punish the main guy, like the main villain. Like, he gets no comeuppance. And it's based on a book, so I don't know if it's because it's like he returns in like a follow-up or something. But like, if you're making this and you get one shot at a movie, why would you give us that?
Listen,
like,
I'm not gonna be there for part 2, bro. All right, like, please.
And that's the other thing, like, kill wise too, because at least if the story wasn't good, could you at least say the kills were good? Not really either, because it's unfortunate because the budget, the budget means that they don't get to do a lot of what they probably wanted to do. And even then, what you do get isn't like super compelling. And they're not like, I do like the weightlifting one though, with the saw. It is like basically just pushing it down. But even then, could have been a more creative way to do that. I don't know. Like,
and then their friends start going missing, and they don't really kind of go find out what's going on with their friends and stuff either. Which is like,
because so that's the other thing. There's a lot of weird writing in this too. Like, it's because they don't search them out because they already filmed these serial killer pranks for YouTube, which doesn't make any sense. First of all, anyone watching this on YouTube, full well by now, like, the content that kind of gets on YouTube and the kind of policing that gets done with this content. There's no way that you can have like super violent videos on just your channel as like pranks. So
but again, like when you guys see this movie on Shudder, you guys will know exactly why we say, there's something missing here to make this a complete experience. And unfortunately, it was the story. Finishing the story, wrapping it up properly was what was, needed to complete this experience. Because everything else, as Sex mentioned, because of the low budget, the kills weren't that great. The acting wasn't that great. So it was, I don't know why the horror community hyped this one up. Anyways, folks, on to our second double feature of the day.
Yeah, the other movie that the horror community is hyping.
The other movie that the horror community and Rotten Tomatoes is hyping up. So I gotta recheck that score, folks. But Final Destination Bloodlines is finally out in theaters, folks. And let me tell you, man, I'm still kind of sitting with this a little bit, but it's a wait for it for me. I have to say, being honest with myself as a horror person and as a critic, it's definitely a wait for it. I really wanted to go into this thing expecting it to be really good, but it's Final Destination, folks. What am I doing here? Why did I think this was going to be really good? To its defense, I did like the story more than the previous Final Destination films. I did like the whole, I saved all these people and now everything is kind of, death is taking them all, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
But there's still something missing, right? There was still something missing, and the kills were fun, but the CG, man, in this movie kind of took me out from some of the kill experiences. It's unfortunate because the kills, they definitely went over the top in terms of let's wow some people with these kills.
Yeah, they had some fun with them. You def tell, yeah.
But I still feel that this is it could have been better, Tex. It could have been better, especially with bringing us back into the fold with Final Destination, right? Having us sit in theaters, excited for a new death's plan here. But before we continue the conversation, Tex, what is your rating?
Yeah, pay for it, stay away from it, wait for it. I would also say wait for it. For all the reasons that you mentioned. I don't really disagree with any point. It's the first one we've gotten in over a decade. So naturally you would you can please go listen to our archives when we talk about this. You can tell how excited we were.
Yeah.
Because they're just exciting movies because it's an interesting franchise, right? Mm-hmm. And there's no other like it. So when you get a new one, it even when you watch it, it turns out to be bad. It's oh well, it was still a Final Destination movie.
We're trying to cope, right? And it's how do I deal with this? I thought it was gonna be good.
Yeah, and I think that's what you're dealing with right now, Arturo, because I'm in that same boat of I don't dismiss it entirely. It's not like Clown in a Cornfield where I'm yo, don't even bother.
Don't even
this
bother,
one. This one, I would say, watch it eventually. I would say watch it when it hits max in a year or later this year by the looks of it. But this is kind of I'm disappointed. I'm trying to figure out if I'm fairly disappointed. That's the other issue.
I'm not fairly disappointed because I actually went in not knowing what to expect, right? I did expect something I honestly expected a little better than what we got, based off the hype and all that stuff, but that's just us hyping ourselves up as fans. But
that's what I mean. I'm trying to figure that out.
The trailer,
if I'm being fair to it,
the trailer does a very good job of just giving you these very top tier moments in the movie. That you're holy crap, man, I'm totally down. And then I am down for the movie, but there's just the movie's just long. All right, let's just get that out of the way. The movie is just long. It's over 2 hours, which is what are we doing here in horror right now? Over 2 hours. You're not A24 Ari Aster. This is not Hereditary. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's the issue. That's I think that's the biggest problem I have, because for it's the same kind of positives you have even for the worst Final Destinations, right? You have good kills, but they were really good kills. They're really fun in terms of like creativity, in terms of setting them up. There's a lot of cruelty, which I like too. I like when it's like a death is particularly like mean. Like in the beginning, you have the Space Needle. Basically, they call it the Sky View, but like it's a Space Needle.
Space Needle.
And you get some rather really like it's one of my like. It's not one of the best ones, but it is one of the better like big death scenes, right?
I think that is probably the best one I've seen. There are some good ones, but I think
even more than the pileup, because that's the thing. Remember, it's like the pileup is
good.
Yeah, so
pileup is good. Even the NASCAR race is ridiculously fun to watch too.
Yeah, so
but
I think
I
think it's better than NASCAR. I think it's better than the bridge, right?
Yes.
I think it's better than the plane.
I do think it's better than the plane. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
The pileup is really nice though, man. With those logs and everything.
Especially because it's like it's practical. You just can't compare the two, right? But I think I get what you're getting at in terms of like variety of deaths, right?
Like
you get
you get a little bit of everything. I was having a lot of fun. Just my eye just kept darting around. I was able to see this in IMAX, so my eyes just went all over the screen trying to see what the hell was happening. Dude. And they did a really nice job of just creating so much chaos for everybody involved in that in the frame. Which it's like, yo, this is dope. This is why my expectations were kind of high.
It sets you up really good.
That is the beginning. Like you're there for what, a good 10-15 minutes of the movie or something, right?
Yeah, it's the Final Destination formula that fans should be knowing. That's your scene that you sit in with, and then everything happens. Then the movie starts, right?
That's your establishing shot, as they say in Hollywood. You know,
and it's like Arturo said, it's got a little everything. It's got you've got your brutal deaths, you got your kid death, right? You got some funny ones like the fire, the kid getting Looney Tuned with the piano.
He deserved that so much,
dude. Especially because he's a bad actor too. He was a bad kid actor on top of it. It was just bad all around.
Bad acting all around. I'm glad Brick Basinger actually did well. So I actually liked her in the beginning. But after that, I was like,
yeah, dude, it's so rough. It's like these. Everyone except the two brothers, Eric and Bobby. I did like Eric and Bobby.
Love their dynamic. You can tell like they had the most fun on set because it was just very easy for them. I did like the brother. Where is he from? Charlie? He looks super familiar.
He's been in something, right?
He has definitely been in something.
I couldn't remember it either, but he's good too. But
I did not like the main actress. I don't know why they put her. I don't know why they put that load on her. I'm not going to knock her as an actress because acting is difficult, but I blame the movie and the casting for
I blame everything. Yeah.
It's just so much she has to do. Like she has to do she's in every scene pretty much too.
Yeah,
oh man.
Because when you're a Final Destination protagonist, you kind of have to pull your weight. And we've seen what happens when the actors don't pull their weight. You get Final Destination 4, you kind of get 5, right? 5 needs the gimmick, but it's so bad, dude. It's she's bad, and it's unfortunate. Like she's not supported by anyone around her. The Eric is dope. You know
where that kid's from? That's the kid from Chucky. That's the brother from Chucky from season 1.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Yes. Dope. Good for him.
Yeah,
okay.
You know what? Junior.
Yeah, he's maintained that level of quality. In his career, right?
Good for him. So everybody else was whack, but anyways.
But yeah, like that's the thing. She didn't have anybody who could support her in that either. You know, and she has to explain the death sequences
over and over.
That's the thing.
Again.
Yeah, it's over explained, and then it kind of like that's kind of where I'm like, oh. The idea itself is really cool on paper of like, the death is getting rid of anyone who shouldn't exist at this point.
Again, on paper, dude. Yes. Thank you, Tex. On paper, that looks like a great story. Like, oh my God, how come we haven't done this before? That's what we said when we saw the trailer. Remember, like, how have they not thought about this before? And we know why, Tex.
And it is cool. We do get a good swerve, a funny swerve. Like, it's a good idea. And then the movie kind of takes a dive in terms of like how it does the death deaths from then on. Like,
yeah,
the plan doesn't really, like, it's not really set in stone. Unfortunately, like, a big thing about these movies is that you kind of need to follow the order
yeah,
as a viewer too, so you're aware of, like, okay, and it misses out on that, like, that element of if you skip it, if it skips you, it gets the next person, so it misses some other stuff. But it's it's uh it's
it's well, like it's like you were saying, Tex. Like it's missing some things that we're used to. Like they do the signs are everywhere kind of thing, right? They have that there in the movie, but it is missing that plan, the structure, right?
yeah,
Like
there you go, it's
because
missing the structure.
when you
Yeah,
watch part 1, 2, and 3, it's like, oh, there's a structure here. It's going down the line. But here it gets a little jumbled up. They explain it in a fun way, right? But then
right.
like it still kind of stays jumbled up as
Yeah,
it
and
continues on,
she
And
doesn't
then they're
exactly see things coming,
yeah, their
right?
whole reasoning is, "Oh, don't fuck with death,"
Right.
death is, don't interfere with it. When you interfere with it, it's gonna do what it wants. And it's like,
Which doesn't make
"Okay,
sense either, like,
so what's the point of this book and all this research you've been
yeah,
doing,"
it goes against the rules of the previous movies too, of, like, if they're not part of the plan, they shouldn't get caught up in the, like, in it. Like, it's not because, oh, he's trying to save him,
Mhm.
but, like, they've tried to save each other in past movies before, and, like, they're never, like, they don't get punished for it because it's not part of Death's plan. Like,
Yeah.
that's the whole thing, is, like, the plan itself was muddied, and that's unfortunate because it's like, if you had a better cast, I'd be willing to write that off, right? I'd
Mhm.
be willing, as a franchise fan, I'd be willing to be like, all right, I can forgive that because you had a good cast. Or like Final Destination 5, where it's like, oh, I can forgive some of, like, the lesser kills because there's a cool idea of, like, murdering somebody, taking their life.
Yes.
You had
Yes.
good ideas to offer, right? Or, like, the peak of the franchise, Final Destination 3. It's because you had a great cast,
Yeah.
and, like, and a good first death with the roller coaster and everything,
Absolutely.
like, at good deaths throughout, practical. And it's just, this movie was missing, like, while it's a wait for it, but it's right there in the middle of, like, everything, right? It's like, it's got some fun ideas, it's got some fun kills, it's got some, like, gory death, but, like, I don't know. It doesn't go as far as some of the other ones.
It's
It's got,
it's
like,
gory,
which,
but also the CG, I think, also, like, makes it ungory, if that makes any
yeah,
sense?
like that,
You know?
like the garbage truck death was, like, the
Yes.
coolest.
Yeah.
It was a funny setup
Yes, it
because she's
was.
like, oh, this is gonna do this and this is gonna do that, and they're trying to convince the best character in the movie, Eric, about it, right?
Yeah.
And then it happens to the sister, and she ultimately gets squeezed in her, like, from her head. So, like, it's CG to where you can keep her screaming and all that stuff, which is, like, a cool idea, but also, if that were practical, I bet it would have hit better.
Yeah, I'm curious 'cause, some of that did look a little practical.
The hand did, at least.
Yeah,
Yeah.
her arm for sure, but I think, like, when the head kinda blew up, it looked a little practical. But, there were so many opportunities that the practical would I think would have been fucking mwah, chef's kiss, man. But, like,
Yeah.
we had a lot of CG, and that's also because they wanted to go OD with the deaths and the kind of deaths. So you kind of it's hard to do practical when you have a freaking Rube Goldberg machine trying to kill you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but even
Yeah.
then, the other ones have done that. Like, that's the thing, is, like,
But then
you
it
you
but then
can
again, like, the the scope of the deaths haven't been this extreme. You know what I mean?
you're right,
So, like,
and, like,
for instance, in part 1, we have a dude getting choked out in the shower, right? We have another person getting electrocuted, right? Like, it's these,
right,
a person getting hit by a train in a car almost, you know what I mean? Like, these deaths are more like they were easier to do practically. But the ones that they've
right.
done in the recent movies, it's hard to do practical when, you need a lot of things to happen, you know?
Yeah, and you're right. Like, you couldn't do like the magnetized MRI machine, right? Like, yeah, that's a fun idea and all,
It was a
but
fun idea, though. I did like that fun idea.
and that's the thing. Like, this, for every little knock I have on it,
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, it still had something fun, like every now and again.
Yeah. You see,
It's
but
right
that's the
right in the
thing,
middle of
like,
the pack. It's right in the
but
middle of the pack.
but I think that's also, uh missing movies like this for a while too, that we
Yeah,
were like, "You know what? This'll do for now," you know? Because it's been so long since the last Final Destination, and we've only gotten, like, copycats of this theory, in
yeah,
worse movies. I think we saw one recently, that was like that I totally forgot what it was called. But yeah, it's not a total waste of your time, folks, but I do wish they cut it shorter, cut it a lot shorter
yeah.
by
It's
at
so
least
long,
20, 30
dude.
minutes, man. If
It's
they
so
did
long.
cut it shorter, they would have had a more successful conclusion to the story. One thing I do have to say before we get out of here, I really, really enjoyed the editing and the camera work in this version of Final Destination. They did a good job of kind of putting you in a crazy kind of moment, with all the choppy editing, all the back and forth, especially when he was tattooing himself and stuff. You didn't know what to
Mhm.
expect. I really love that scene, especially too. There was a lot going on, and they all and the camera work was really well done. But in terms of the deaths, again, the deaths are a little overkill, and I wish the CG was a little less. But overall, I did think that the story was decent. Right, it was a decent story. But it was so long though, man. Like,
Yeah,
I think that what's really kind of killing a lot of things in this movie is the length. Because it's so long, you needed to have more acting involved, more,
yeah,
like,
and
nonsense stories, more
you needed
CG involved, you
you,
know?
you needed more scenes of people explaining what's going on, right?
Yeah.
Or like people not believing what's going on. And so, like, by the time you get to Tony Todd, and he's once again explaining things that are going on, and
R.I.P.
like, and then like revealing the movie's ties to the rest of the franchise, right? Where he's like doing the whole like, I've been here, the other movies happened. This is what happened in part two. This is why I'm here. This is why I know about everything. Yada yada yada. And then he gets like a superhero exit, which is kind of like, uh, it's in memory of the actor, but in the movie itself,
I didn't like that. I thought he was gonna get
yeah,
off right when he went through that door, bro.
yeah, I
Because
was a
it was his
little,
time to go, right?
yeah, I was a little kind of like,
I
that's a
thought
little,
yeah, that's I didn't like that because I think the better memory, I think he would have loved to go out too in a kind of gruesome way too, like,
either that, or if you, or just don't do like the music swell and stuff when he's leaving through
yeah,
the
because
door.
listen, I got emotional. I'm like, "Oh my god, Tony Todd, baby, I
Yeah,
miss you."
and that's the thing. Like, it's a tribute to the actor, but not in the movie itself. It's weird, and that's just that's
Yeah,
another reason it balloons. That's the
yeah.
thing where it's like, you could have, maybe you could have chopped something else off to
I
get us
think
more
this is
Tony
the
Todd
most
time.
lines of dialogue he's had in a Final
That's
Destination, right?
that's also the thing. Like, I'm like,
Also, this is the first time we hear his name, right? I think too, right?
yeah, it's the first time you hear him say his name. Like,
Okay, yeah.
they've given it the name. uh
Bloodthorn or whatever it
Ultimately, yeah,
was.
Bloodworth, like, there's a lot that we can dig into there, but ultimately for this movie, it's like, it was more a tribute to the actor than the character needed. And it's like,
Mhm.
all right, well, let's see another one. Maybe, I hope this director doesn't come back. That's the unfortunate thing, because it's like, yeah, for every good
Yeah.
idea, I'm like, yeah, let's let somebody else take a shot at this,
Yeah. Well, you know what? That's probably gonna happen depending how much money this movie makes, right? So,
Yeah.
someone else will definitely take a shot at this thing. But folks, I will not be taking another shot at this thing when it comes, to streamers. But I think everyone should kind of, if you're a fan, you definitely will go out and watch this thing. Um, it'll be fun. It's just a little long. Just prepare. Make sure you use the bathroom, before you watch the movie, because it's strangely long for a Final Destination movie. Strangely long, and it doesn't get anywhere with that length too, which is like, what the hell? But yeah, folks, thank you for listening. This has been episode 231 of The Morgue, the official CorpseFeed podcast. I am Arturo Padilla, the guy behind the face, and with me always is Mr. Nick Valdez. A big shout out goes to Delvirus for all the artwork you've seen in front of you throughout the years, and a big shout out goes to you guys for listening, man. We have 230 of these episodes for you anywhere you get your streaming. Please go like and subscribe. We have a more dedicated YouTube channel now. Go like, subscribe over there, please, where you can catch this dropping on the same day you get it on in your ears. So please like, subscribe, and share. Go to the Morgue channel, like, subscribe, and share there. Hit that bell. That way you know when we're dropping a video. And go to the CorpseFeed channel as well and like, subscribe, share there. We are everywhere in the socials, folks. And remember, it is a scary, scary world out there, but we are here to walk you through it.